You're sitting there, staring at a blinking cursor, and suddenly the most urgent task in the world isn't your deadline. It's checking the expiration date on the mustard in the back of your fridge. Why? You aren't lazy, and you certainly aren't a slacker. Your brain is actually in the middle of a high stakes civil war. Today, we're looking at what's really happening when we procrastinate, and I promise it's a lot more human than you think. Stick with me, because to understand why you can't seem to start that project, we have to look at the battle of the two bosses. Inside every human head, there are two very different systems trying to run the show. Think of one as the wise planner. It's the part that understands consequences, dreams about the future, and knows that doing your taxes now means a stress-free weekend later. But then there's the feeling center. This part of the brain is like a toddler with a megaphone. It doesn't care about next week. It only cares about how you feel right this second. When the wise planner says, "Let's work on that presentation," the feeling center looks at the task, sees that it's hard or boring, and screams, "Danger! This feels bad. Let's watch cat videos instead." But wait, here is where it gets interesting. Most people think procrastination is a time management problem. They buy planners, set timers, and try to hack their schedule. But the truth? Procrastination is actually an emotion management problem. You aren't avoiding the task, you're avoiding the bad feelings associated with the task. Maybe that project makes you feel anxious because you're afraid you won't do a good job. Maybe it makes you feel bored, and your brain treats boredom like physical pain. When the brain senses those bad vibes, it does exactly what it was evolved to do. It tries to protect you. It moves you away from the thing that causes stress and toward the thing that gives you a quick hit of joy. It's a survival instinct that's just a little bit confused about what's actually dangerous. And get this. There is a very strange trick the brain plays on us involving time. Scientists have found that when people think about their future self, the you that exists 3 weeks from now, the brain actually processes that person as a complete stranger. It's true. When you say, "I'll let future me handle this on Monday," your brain feels the same way it would if you were dumping the work on a random person you saw at the grocery store. You get the relief of not doing it now, but you don't feel the weight of the burden you're passing off. Because that Monday version of you doesn't feel real yet. It's a massive disconnect that makes it incredibly easy to procrastinate without feeling guilty. At least until Sunday night hits. Now stick with me here, because this is where the cycle becomes a bit of a trap. When you finally choose to scroll through social media instead of working, your brain gives you a tiny splash of dopamine. It feels like a rescue mission. You feel better for a minute. But because the task is still there, hanging over your head like a dark cloud, the guilt starts to seep in. That guilt creates even more stress. And what does the brain do when it feels stressed? It looks for an escape. So, you procrastinate more to escape the guilt of procrastinating. It's a loop that can leave even the smartest people feeling paralyzed. But hold on, because there's one more secret about this loop that almost no one talks about. The biggest enemy of getting things done isn't actually the distraction. It's the shame. We are so mean to ourselves. We call ourselves lazy or failures. And get this, that self-criticism actually makes you more likely to procrastinate again. Why? Because you've now made the task even scarier by attaching your entire self-worth to it. If the project is just a project, it's manageable. But if the project is a test of whether you're a good or capable person, the feeling center is going to be absolutely terrified of starting it. The more you beat yourself up, the more the brain wants to hide in the safety of a distraction. But wait, here is where the hope comes in. If procrastination is about feelings, then the cure isn't a better calendar. It's a bit of self-compassion. Studies have shown that people who forgive themselves for procrastinating are actually much more likely to start working sooner the next time. By being kind to yourself, you lower the threat level in your brain. You tell that screaming toddler in the feeling center, "It's okay. This is hard, but we're safe." When the stress goes down, the wise planner can finally get a word in edgewise. And here is the kicker. The brain actually loves to finish things. There is a deep biological satisfaction in checking off a box. The hardest part is always the first 2 minutes, because that's when the battle is the loudest. Once you get past that initial spike of "this feels bad," the brain starts to settle into the rhythm. It's like a car engine that's a bit cold. It might struggle to turn over, but once it's running, it wants to keep moving. The secret isn't to stop being a procrastinator, but to make the start so small that the feeling center doesn't realize a task is happening. Instead of saying, "I'm going to write this report," tell the brain, "I'm just going to open the document and type one sentence." The brain thinks, "Oh, one sentence? I can handle that." And once you're in, the momentum takes over. So, the next time you find yourself cleaning the baseboards with a toothbrush instead of doing your work, don't get mad at yourself. Just recognize that your brain is trying to be your bodyguard. It's trying to protect you from stress, even if its methods are a little counterproductive. Give yourself a break, lower the stakes, and remember that you aren't broken. You're just human. Understanding how your brain works is the first step toward working with it rather than against it. I know it's a lot to take in, but I'm proud of you for just being curious enough to listen. You have a brilliant brain, and even when it's distracted, it's doing its best to look out for you. Would you like me to tell you the story of what's happening when we experience imposter syndrome and why even the most successful people feel like they're just pretending? If you enjoyed our little deep dive, it would mean the world to me if you'd subscribe. It's like a digital high five for all my research. And don't forget to click the bell so you don't miss our next adventure. While I go brew some tea, why not peek at these other videos? I put a lot of love into them. Stay curious, my friend. I'll see you in the next episode.